One day after the chaos-filled Kenyan repeat presidential election, the nation's election commission on Friday says 6.5 million people, or one-third of registered voters, went to the poll in Thursday's rerun vote, despite the opposition's call for a boycott. Officials say the voting is expected to resume on Saturday in some locations because several polling stations were unable to open for Thursday's vote due to security concerns. The voting was marred by protests and violence at a number of polling stations. At least 2 people were shot and killed during clashes between police and protesters. Voter turnout appeared to be significantly lower than it was in the original August 8th election. President Uhuru Kenyatta is making his second attempt at re-election after the Supreme Court nullified his victory in the August poll, citing irregularities and illegalities in the transmission of results. Opposition leader Raila Odinga instructed his supporters to boycott this election after his demands to restart the electoral process and replace members of the Electoral Commission were denied. Bishop David Kodia opposes Saturday's voting in Nyanza.
The rule of law is not only applicable to those who are rioting, but is equally applicable to the police who are wielding the guns. Please, our security forces, our appeal to you is very simple. You are our brothers. You are our sisters. You are our sons and daughters. Respect the life of your colleagues. Don't be thirsty to shed blood. It does not pay. It is criminal, it is immoral, it is sinful, and it is uncivilized. So we ask Matiang'i, Dr. Matiang'i, the acting CS Secretary for Interior, to withdraw the large contingent of paramilitary personnel from Nyanza region totally. And in this case, we are also asking the chairman of the commission for IBC, Mr. Wafula Chebukati, to come forward and take back his ballot boxes to where they belong.
Meanwhile, Kisumu Governor Professor Anyang' Nyong'o has urged the Electoral Commission to cancel the repeat presidential election set for Saturday in parts of Western Kenya, citing security concerns.
They feel excluded from the system. They feel excluded from the system because when the system comes to them from the national level, it is always in the form of force. It is not that the system comes, so let's sit down and talk about how to improve water resources and how to improve transportation on the lake. They don't come with that kind of thing. And they come, as it were, when they smell a crisis. And that's why you see hostility in the streets against the national government. But we fear that should this election, so-called election, this shambolic election, be held tomorrow, and with the more security forces having been brought into town last night, I think about 7 or 9 lorries, we fear worse things may happen.
Now joining us live via Skype from Nairobi with more election news is Africa 54 Managing Editor Vincent Makori. Good evening, Vincent. And with those so many calls to do away with a repeat poll Saturday, how does the IEBC really plan to announce the outcome of this rerun?
It is very confusing, but let's start with some latest news from the IEBC. In fact, the chairman of the IEBC, Wafula Chebukati, came on today and said he, again, is postponing elections in so many of the constituencies where elections were supposed to take place tomorrow, Saturday. They will not take place tomorrow, Saturday, in over 3,500 polling centers until a date to be announced later. These are the reasons they gave. Security of the election officials, some of them who had been attacked, kidnapped, scared out of their homes and their workstations. So while so many other people were thinking perhaps Saturday wasn't a bad day, especially for people who come from southern part of Kenya, South Nyanza, who are predominantly Seventh-day Adventists who do not vote or do any kind of work on a Saturday. So that throws in a bit more confusion into when will we finally get to hear the final results or the end of this process. It's all about the end of this process.
And again, Vincent, if you can break it down for us here, the arithmetic is kind of a little confusing for most viewers, and we would like you to kind of walk us through what it requires for the winner. You know, thinking about the 47 counties of Kenya, what percentage of the counties, what percentage is required for the president to win this election?
The winner has, by a constitutional requirement, get more than half of the votes cast in that particular election, and at least 25% of the votes cast in at least 24 counties out of the 47. So he has to get more than half, 50 plus 1. Then he has to get 25% in at least 24 of the counties.
Wow, it's a kind of complex,
is the requirement. Yes, and at the moment we know that there's been boycotts in so many of these places. We are waiting to see whether the president, in as much as he may get more than half of the votes cast, will he get 25% of votes in at least 24 counties.
The drama is not ending today, rather. It continues, Vincent.
It's going to continue.
Thank you so much. Africa 54 Managing Editor Vincent Makori talking to us live via Skype from Nairobi.